Glad you could join us on this edition of the show. Football fans are literally everywhere in the world, and what startup is working hard to increase the fun and engagement within that community? The founder joins me to discuss esports, metaverse gaming, and more. Watch out for our conversation shortly, but for now, here are some news and updates. I'm Chukwemeka Agbata, and this is Tech Trends.
Nuclear power will help provide electricity that our growing economy needs without increasing emissions. This is truly an environmentally responsible source of energy. Epileptic power supply is one problem many Nigerians have continued to battle with for so many years. As a backup, a number of individuals, families and organizations turn to generators or solar energy to get stable electricity. But regardless of which power source that's being used, energy consumption is a worrying factor, and so Emmanuel Obayagbona, an electrical engineer living in Ebonyi State, has found a way to use any light source without consuming a lot of energy.
So currently, I designed this device called Solar Generator Power Booster stroke NEPA reduction bill device. What it does actually, it is something that helps to reduce our electricity bill consumption per se to around 40%. Because how it works, when you insert this into the wall socket, it takes about 0.01 amp from the prepaid meter and then step it up to over 13 amps, which powers our heating appliances. So I've been on this production since 2010, to be precise. That's about 12 years ago.
The Solar Generator Power Booster and NEPA reduction bill device is built from locally sourced materials by Emmanuel, and it tells us how it works.
This product will help to take as low as 0.01 amp from our national grid, from the grid system. It will take as low as 0.01 amp. So it's not something that actually draws current. It's not something that actually consumes current. So it will even help to retain more energy for the grid rather than consuming the entire power. Then as soon as the product takes 0.01, now it steps to boost up this power, just like a step-up transformer, and which can help to power domestic appliances. These are the things that actually consume more of our loads, from the grid system. So that is why when everyone in Nigeria is consuming so much load like that, you find out that the grid system will fail, due to so many load is being consumed from the grid system. But if we are just taking, the world is moving to eco-friendly energy now, things that doesn't consume much energy, much power, so that we can have enough power reserve and stored. And these are one of the things that are eco-friendly products, that helps to take a very little energy from the grid system, from the national grid, and then boost it up to power domestic use. So it will help to save energy for over 40% to energy users.
Emmanuel is passionate about creating alternative power supply for Nigerians and has invented other electrical devices like his automatic generator turn-on and shut-down switch and sustainable solar energy wall clock lighting kits. Mogwetumbai had always taken taxis to a banking job in Senegal's capital, Dakar, but haggling over prices and inhaling fumes through the open windows every day wore her down. She was happy to leave all that behind when French ride-hailing app Hitch launched in January. The ride costs a little more, but she considers it a small price to pay for the peace of mind.
Parce qu'on est une génération 3.0, on est tout le temps sur le smartphone.
We're 3.0 generation. We're on the smartphone all the time. And the ability to anticipate taxi orders, because you can't find a taxi all the time as soon as you get off. I prefer to wait quietly at home or at the office, and as soon as it's there, I get out and there's no waiting time.
participation-là.
Hitch was the second company to launch a ride-hailing app in Senegal in recent months after Yango, which is owned by Russian tech giant Yandex. Both are testing a largely untapped market for ride-hailing services in Francophone West Africa, where the industry has been slower to take hold than in Anglophone countries like Nigeria and Ghana that have more vibrant startup cultures.
Africa is a very young continent where connectivity is very high. Everyone has a smartphone. Everything that is done in the country, in Africa, is done with a phone. Between sending money to a relative who is in another city or talking via WhatsApp, Facebook, you can see that people are connected 24 hours a day. Hitch is coming into the digital world to modernize transport.
Hitch said about 3,000 people have downloaded the application so far in Senegal.
I want to earn money. I think it's the best way to make money. It puts us in touch with the customer. It's safe and easy.
Yango, on the other hand, declined to provide figures. The companies are mindful not to antagonize taxi drivers who in other countries have staged violent protests against ride-hailing apps and are trying to convince them that using the apps will save time and money. Dakar, a city of about 4 million, has a fleet of 25,000 yellow taxis, often old cars lacking door handles or seat belts.
Working with a transport platform, I think it makes it easier. It increases the number of daily customers that I had before. Before, I could get 2 to 3 rides, but now, with the app, I get at least 10 rides in a day.
A few hundred taxi drivers have signed up for Hitch and Yango, but others said they were unimpressed. Yango said that even if a driver earns less for a particular route, he would still earn more overall with the app by reducing idle mileage. A Los Angeles area startup founded by veteran spaceflight robotics engineer has unveiled its full-scale working prototype for a new generation Lunar Rover that is just as fast as NASA's old moon buggy, but is designed to do much more. The company, Venturi Astrolab Inc., releases photos and videos showing its flexible logistics and exploration vehicle riding over the rugged California desert near Death Valley National Park during a 5-day field test in December. Astrolab executives say the 4-wheeled car-sized Flex Rover is designed for use in NASA's Artemis program aimed at returning humans to the moon as early as 2025 and establishing a long-term lunar colony as a precursor to sending astronauts to Mars. Unlike the 1970s Apollo era, moon buggies are the current generation of robotic Mars rovers tailored for specialized tasks and experiments. Flex is designed as an all-purpose vehicle that can be driven by astronauts or by remote control. Built around a modular payload system inspired by conventional containerized shipping, the company says Flex is versatile enough to be used for exploration, cargo delivery, site construction, and other logistical work on the moon.
But Flex really is designed to both, serve the needs of astronauts, but also be extremely versatile, even in the absence of astronauts. So it's a robotic platform that can be operated from Earth or from elsewhere. And, the really, interesting thing is that enables lots of activities, to be conducted in the absence of astronauts. Astronaut time is, of course, really precious. They're only going to be on the surface for days at a time, at least in the first missions. And so it's important to have platforms that can do things like construction, infrastructure deployment, conduct science, exploration, even before the astronauts arrive.
If NASA adopts Flex and its modular payload platforms for Artemis, it would become the first passenger-capable rover to fly the lunar space since Apollo 17, the last of 6 original U.S. manned missions to the moon in December 1972. Apollo 17's lunar roving vehicle set a moon speed record of 11 miles per hour. Flex can move just as swiftly.
Flex is designed to support a 10-year life on the moon. As I was saying, NASA is interested in having a sustained human presence ultimately on the moon. So it's important to have assets and equipment that can last a long time, much longer than, for example, the Apollo missions, which only lasted a few days at a time. So Flex has a battery and solar power system. So it collects solar energy to recharge its batteries. And there's sufficient battery capacity to not only support an 8-hour EVA with suited astronauts, but also sufficient energy capacity to survive the lunar night at the South Pole, which can be as much as somewhere between 100 and 300 hours.
While Apollo LRVs carried up to 2 astronauts seated at its controls like a car, Flex passengers, 1 or 2 at a time, ride standing in the back, driving the vehicle with a joystick. With its solar-powered batteries fully charged, the vehicle can drive 2 astronauts for 8 hours straight and has sufficient energy capacity to survive the extreme cold of a lunar night.
Tech tips on how to use your device as a hearing aid with sound amplifier on your Android device. With sound amplifier, you can combine your Android device's microphone or an external microphone with a pair of headphones to amplify the sound from all around you. First, connect your headphones to your device, open Settings and select Accessibility. Tap on Hearing Enhancement and click on Amplify Ambient Sound. Turn on the toggle, click Got It. Then, click the purple bubble on the lower right corner of your device, and your phone's microphone will be connected to your Bluetooth headphones. This will enable you to hear distant sounds clearly and put the focus on conversations even when you're somewhere noisy.
Coming up is my chat with the founder of lovefootball.ng, Wale Adegoke. Stay with us.
Esports is a sport, and gaming is about entertainment. But more often than not, brands make the mistake of using both terms interchangeably. Although these two verticals stem from the same medium of video games, often feeding off each other, there are some significant differences between esports and gaming that needs to be understood. Both platforms are simple and user-friendly, hence the successful record hit in developing countries and other emerging markets. But when it comes to the e-gaming and esports industry, there is an array of angles that brands can approach when activating to connect to their target audiences. Wale Adegoke, founder of lovefootball.ng, discusses how we can support startups in the space to increase engagement.
Well, Wale, glad to have you on Tech Trends today.
Hi, CFA. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Let me start by getting your views on how the ecosystem has fared to date.
Tech ecosystem in Lagos, Nigeria, it's actually moved on in leaps and bounds. Even from the last 2 years, there's been so many improvements, especially when it comes to talent. Talents are getting more opportunity to learn more skills. And because so many startups are coming up, they have opportunity to actually try their hands on these skills, designing and developing different kinds of products, working on those products. So on the talent side, it's grown in leaps and bounds. Funding also has grown a lot, but there's still a lot more that can be done in terms of funding, especially for different kinds of industries. I feel like the focus of funding is more on, will I say the regular subjects or the usual suspects. So, yeah.
What is that usual suspect? What is the usual suspect?
Yeah, so I was just about to say it's been difficult for startups in some specific, maybe lesser fancied fields to access some kind of funding is a bit more difficult. The usual suspects, fintech, education, technology around education, also ed tech, and then of course health tech. Those are the usual suspects in my opinion, and I think a lot of people agree with me.
Okay, so let's drill down to sport tech and what tech startups in the sports space are doing. So what are some of the things that you see are the innovations coming out of that?
The innovation is really about participation and engagement. It's just about deepening that and increasing that. We know, and I am privy to this data, that billions are spent daily in Nigeria on sports betting. Now, people want to make money from the internet. When you search on Google how to make money on the internet, it's people are trying to make money from the internet, and sports is a big way people are tapping into that. The kind of innovations that can come around the kind of traditional sports betting we have, they are myriad. Like, for example, fantasy gaming. It's a way of actually playing and engaging in sports, and you're not necessarily betting against a bookmaker, because fantasy sports and betting are actually quite different. So that's an innovation that can come out of it. And we can even look at even the situation of training kids and getting them to watch how they play. If we could record and stream matches of kids so that their parents can watch it, other people can watch it, they can look, analyze, the teachers can also analyze and see. This is about youth development now, development of players in different kinds of sports. Having that interaction of sport, of tech into it, helps everybody to get more connected with the sport, and it's definitely a win-win for all parties involved.
So, Wally, I mean, you are sort of talking about an interesting point, but there is also the part of sports betting being gambling, and the moralistic side. Parents also being weary about allowing their children play games all the time. How do we sort of marry all of these issues, which are real, and then still take advantage of the innovations in the future of sports?
Yeah. So CFA, these vices, they are real. They do cause damage to people, especially those that don't, approach this in a responsible way. And responsible in the sense that there is legislation about the age that people are allowed to take part in this kind of thing. So underage gaming should not be, it should not be something that is promoted. But then I'm not talking about gaming in its entirety, because fan engagement spread far beyond betting money. And with the way the internet is going, I'm seeing the need for further consultation with the people that are actually innovating on these products. So I mentioned socials. It's a fan token. People are buying the right to have a say in the club. On the other side of it, there's also a way of trading on player options, which is another app. That player options is similar to the stock market in the sense that if the player performs well, is doing well, your stock in the player is going to be going up, obviously, which that strikes a bell with our normal, equities and investments that people partake in, financial instruments. But there's a way regulation comes in to make sure that people are doing the right thing and not breaking the system down or taking advantage of the system unduly and, preying on the weak in the society. So these are key principles that people involved in gaming. FIFA video game, people play it from childhood, from a young age. So they're already playing video games. They're already doing these things. People are going to look for these things. So we have to find, as we're innovating, something that is going to be customer-centric and going to make sure that the customer is always getting the best part of the deal.
All right. And so what do you think that needs to happen for startups like yours in areas that are not the usual suspects, sports and the rest of them, should happen to encourage you guys to build better?
I think part of the things I want to happen and need to happen are, this interview is a materialization of that. We need to hear more about that, hear more about the possibilities in creating jobs, in creating revenue, in creating actually cultural moments, moments for people to interact, exchange of values, and it's actually critical. People through sports get united, and sports kind of blurs lines between some kind of things, would I say differences. So there's a huge potentiality, and I can just think about, okay, imagine if Nigeria were to win the World Cup. Imagine the impact on the economy. And I just think people need to talk more about it. Also, I think our VCs and the ones abroad also that focus on Africa, they look at Africa through a lens of poverty and, okay, people in Africa are hungry, so they don't play. Or maybe that's the impression. So that needs to be corrected also, because Africans also have fun. Africans also play. Africans also have, culture, and around activities that we do. We are building our lives around those activities. So we need to also be able to invest in that. That's something that's going to grow as the internet is growing and everything else is growing around the ecosystem. These hobbies and sports definitely going to grow.
All right. Olawale, thank you for being on the show today. Wish you all the best.
Thanks so much, Jeffrey. Cheers.
I have been chatting with Wale Adegoke, founder, lovefootball.ng, and he believes that esports and e-gaming might become the new reality in the nearest future. So investors as well as policymakers should find ways to partner and support startups in that space so that collectively we can fully develop that sector. That's our show for today. You can watch these and previous editions of the show on Channels TV, YouTube, or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.